Norman Lear is and forever will be known as one of the most prolific and influential television producers of the 20th century. His 1970s groundbreaking sitcoms like All in the Family, The Jeffersons, Sanford and Son, and One Day at a Time all struck a chord with American viewers, and that's because those shows made us laugh not only at the characters, but also at ourselves. More importantly, embedded in the humor were social messages that dealt with racism and bigotry, civil rights and misogyny, the right to choose, classism, and just about every hot-button issue of the day. But unknown to many, back in the 1980s, Lear left television and found the progressive advocacy group People for the American Way. And now, he's making waves once again over an award he'll be receiving in December. For over 40 years, the Kennedy Center honors have been awarded to those who are, quote, recognized for their lifetime contributions to American culture through the performing arts. And on December 3rd, this year's honorees will include musician Lionel Richie, hip-hop artist turned actor LL Cool J, singer-songwriter Gloria Estefan, and Norman Lear, among others. This is the first Kennedy Center honors of the Trump administration, and upon hearing that he would be receiving the prestigious award, Lear announced that he would be boycotting the White House reception ahead of the awards to protest the president's proposal to eliminate all funding for the National Endowment for the Arts and the National Endowment for the Humanities. Lear told NPR's Elizabeth Blair that, quote, as an artist and a human being, I cannot celebrate this incredible honor at a White House that has no interest in supporting the arts and humanities. But despite his opposition to President Trump and his administration, the 95-year-old legendary producer took to Twitter to say that he would accept the award, writing, quote, I could never turn my back on the Kennedy Center. It represents the arts and humanities, which mean everything to me. Of course I'm accepting the honors. What I'm not accepting is the White House reception with Donald Trump, end quote. The Kennedy Center Honors has always been a nonpartisan event, and honorees traditionally join the President and First Lady in the presidential box to watch tribute performances by various artists on stage at the Kennedy Center Opera House in Washington, D.C. Jack Ford had a chance to catch up with Norman Lear a few months ago and asked him what had led to his political activism.
There was a proliferation of TV evangelicals on television. There was a Jerry Falwell growing a giant congregation here calling himself the Moral Majority, and a Pat Robertson who eventually even began to run for president, short-lived presidential campaign. Jimmy Swaggart, a whole bunch of TV evangelicals that were mixing politics and religion. That was anathema to me and to my Constitution. And I say I underline my.
Why? What did you find so offensive about that?
Mixing politics and religion. My Constitution, I love the word my, and my Constitution. I think we should all feel that way. And my Bill of Rights and my Declaration of Independence, and those words that guarantee you will not tell anybody they are a good or a bad Christian depending on their political point of view.
Right. When you started to tell people, you know what, I'm walking away from this, that there was enormous resistance from people saying, how could you possibly?
What I did was, I didn't think about walking away. What I did was a PSA. I knew what I knew, which was television. So I got a hold of a good actor, and he played a factory worker on a piece of factory equipment with a hard hat. And the camera came in slowly on him as he was looking straight into the camera and saying, you know, my family, my kids and my wife and I sit around, we talk about politics over dinner all the time. But here come ministers telling us we're good Christians or bad Christians, depending on our political point of view. I know my wife's a better Christian than I am. I happen to agree with the ministers on everything. But my wife disagrees totally. My kids have different points of view. It can't be right that people tell you you are a good Christian or a bad Christian, depending on your political point of view. That's not the American way. I took it to Father Hesburgh at Notre Dame because I had an acquaintance with him. I showed it to him. He said, you'll find that mainline church leaders will agree with you about this totally. But what may surprise you is, and you may not know, is they will also favor this notion because of the way they, meaning the evangelicals, how do you forget this phrase, the way they torture Scripture. And So I got a bunch of names from other mainline church leaders, from Father Hesburgh. I visited all of them, 5, 7 of them, and a couple of them joined the board. And in one of their meetings, somebody said, you know, I love what he says at the end, that's not the American way. You ought to form a group around this and be people for the American way.
So that was the genesis.
That was the
organization. And you mentioned my profession in journalism and how, as you said, it's in many instances. I mean, I don't want to condemn everybody. Obviously, it's not a monolithic organization, right. But in many instances, we're seeing bumper sticker journalism rather than in-depth analysis, context. Right. And I don't mean opinion. Opinion is very valuable. You know, Thomas Jefferson said opinion is power. Opinion has always been part of our political process, always been part of the journalism process. Why do you think we see so much of the world of journalism moving to that sort of bumper sticker soundbite approach?
Because we can cram more commercials into. We're all about, you know, I think we're a nation of consumers as opposed to citizens. And that's the way, you know, we've trended. Here's the most, I think this is the societal disease of our time. Every corporation must do better this quarter than the last. Nothing in nature suggests that anything can grow forever. Yet, the leaders of American corporations and everybody who pays them any respect at all go along with the notion that a corporation must do better this quarter than the last.
That you can't be happy with where you were. Your success level isn't enough unless you have more success.
And have we got time for me to raise another question?
Oh, please.
Why 17 people running on the Republican ticket for the presidency of the United States did we ever hear one of them or anybody else mention Dwight David Eisenhower, our 2-term Republican president, the man who carried us as general, 5-star general through World War II, the man I reported to in World War II, and never mentioned his name. And I believe it's because in his farewell address, he warned us about the military-industrial complex.
Right.
And in his first draft, it was the military-industrial congressional complex.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I mean, we've all remembered the military-industrial complex, but I didn't remember the congressional part of that also.
It was in the first draft, scratched out, but it clearly was there.
Well, as usual, you've left us with much to think about here.
Thank you.
Norman Lear, just a pleasure spending some time with you and getting your thoughts. We could talk forever. Maybe we'll get you back and talk some.
Well, let's do that.
Sometime soon. We'll do that.
Because I like the forever part.
That's good for both of us.